So today, ladies and gentlemen, is a very special day. Exactly 31 years ago, on July 13th, 1987, Metal Gear for MSX launched and birthed to the world the video game genre of stealth action as we know it today. Not only that, on that date, Kojima birthed a video game series, nay, a video game saga, that would go on to change the gaming landscape as we know it, as well as the lives of millions of people around the world, mine included. I still remember when I first played Metal Gear Solid for the first time on PC, way back when I was still living in Venezuela, and it truly changed my perception of what gaming was. For the first time, my eyes were open to the potential of the medium, the unique interactive stories it could tell, through the seamless melding of narrative and gameplay, through the utter annihilation of the fourth wall. Then I played Metal Gear Solid 2 sometime after, and that ending traumatized me as a kid in 10 different ways. My brain was liquid by the time I was done with it, but I was mesmerized in all the best ways possible. To this day, I haven't had an experience quite like that, and Metal Gear very quickly became my favorite video game series of all time, alongside Zelda. Now, my parents weren't too keen on me playing games growing up, so I couldn't experience Metal Gear Solid 3 and 4 until many years after those released. But once I did finally play them, I was once again reminded why I love this series so goddamn much. With its impeccable cinematography, unique stylized action sequences, its unforgettable characters and iconic voices, the complex thematic elements, and its exquisitely ridiculous, convoluted, surreal, conspiracy theory-inducing storyline and lore. This shit was my jam. At that point, I was pretty much caught up, and I eventually played Peace Walker in HD on my PS3, which got me addicted to the whole mother base mechanics. And for veteran fans of my channel, I don't think I need to remind you of the journey we went through together with Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain. I can tell you for a fact that the reason this channel, this community exists is because of the passion we all shared for Metal Gear, the hype we shared for Metal Gear Solid 5. It's the reason I'm in this fortunate and blessed position, and I'll never forget it. So of course, there was no way I was going to let this day go by without wishing this seminal game series that changed my life a happy 31st birthday. Now, alongside myself, there are obviously millions of fans around the world who are also celebrating this special occasion in their own way. Chief among them is none other than Jordan Vogt Roberts, whose name you may recognize from not only movies like Kong, which he directed, but also from his upcoming film, the Metal Gear Solid movie. Now, it's mostly been dead silent on that front since the project was announced, but as part of Metal Gear's 31st anniversary, Jordan is going all out by featuring some cool Metal Gear related content, as well as what I think could be some potential teasers for his upcoming movie. Jordan began a celebration with the following tweet: "Follow and retweet this thread to celebrate the 31st anniversary of Hideo Kojima's Metal Gear with 31 pieces of never-before-seen nanomachine-infused artwork. Tune in every day for news updates, some surprises along the way. Join me with hashtag MetalGear31st. Attached to the tweet is a video, and when I reached out to Jordan, he was kind enough to let me post it here for you guys to see. It stars none other than Colonel Campbell, who has a message for the Metal Gear fanbase. Check it out.
This is Colonel Campbell. Do you copy? We've never spoken before today, but I've heard stories about you from the top brass at DARPA and the CIA. Even though I don't trust those suits, what they tell me is the stuff of legend. I know many of you have been awaiting an intel drop on the Metal Gear Solid film project. Some of you might say we've kept you waiting, huh? Unfortunately, that data was lost behind enemy lines, hidden in the code for a Soliton radar. But don't worry, it's not over yet. Snake is on his way to retrieve it. But for now, we have a more pressing issue to discuss. Today is the 31st anniversary of Hideo Kojima's masterpiece being released into the world. 31 years ago today, Metal Gear was released on the MSX. 31 years ago, stealth gameplay was created and the world was introduced to a unique brand of military surrealism. As a thank you to the fans of this franchise, that bearded director, Jordan Vogt Roberts, will be releasing concept art he created with a series of next-gen artists. For the next 31 days, we will be releasing 31 pieces of art. We must stress that this is, quote, fan art, and is not meant to represent what is or not in the forthcoming film. The director says generating art based on Hideo Kojima's seminal characters and world has been a true childhood dream come true. It makes him realize he's no hero, never was. Just an old killer hired to do some wet work. Please join us in celebrating the legacy of Metal Gear Solid over the next 31 days. Well, I have to sign off. Snake is calling again. To all the fans out there, we just want to say thank you.
So 3 things about this video. First, how awesome is it to hear Paul Eiding reprise his role as Campbell? I don't think that'll ever get old. Second, if you're a Metal Gear fan, then you'll know that this little skit was chock full of references from various entries in the series. And I have no doubt that the script for this skit was written by Jordan personally. It brings me comfort to know that Jordan genuinely seems like an avid fan of the series and someone who's taking the helms on the Metal Gear Solid movie because he's genuinely passionate about it. He's also become close friends with Hideo Kojima over the years, and Kojima even went as far as saying that he doesn't believe anyone but Jordan can make this movie, which, hey, that's pretty much the best kind of endorsement you can get. Third, is it just me, or does it seem like Jordan Vogt Roberts isn't just featuring celebratory Metal Gear tidbits, but also hinting at potential teases for the Metal Gear Solid movie? The way Campbell talks about having lost the data for the Metal Gear Solid film project behind enemy lines hidden in the code of a Soliton radar, how it's not over yet, how Snake is on his way to retrieve it, and whatnot. It's almost as if the insinuation is that information related to the Metal Gear Solid movie is looming on the horizon, or closer than we think. Now, I don't know how far along in development the Metal Gear Solid movie is, but given we haven't heard much about casting and whatnot, I would gather it's still in pretty early stages, so I wouldn't go as far as expecting a trailer to drop out of the blue sometime soon or something crazy like that. But I feel like Jordan's 31 days long Metal Gear anniversary celebration might be worth keeping an eye out for. Something Campbell talked about in the Kodak conversation was concept art that Jordan created with a series of next-gen artists, detailing how one art piece will be released for each of the 31 days for a grand total of 31 art pieces. As a matter of fact, Jordan has already released one art piece alongside the following tweet. Day 1 of Metal Gear 31st. There's many beautiful plus insane plus iconic images to come, but I want to start with this piece by Nick Foreman. The bond we formed via mechs reinforced that we should be loud with our love of this franchise as we may find friends and collaborators in the process. Gotta say, the artwork looks pretty badass, with Metal Gear Rex being the centerpiece alongside a soldier in the foreground. Strangely though, the soldier's shoulder sleeve insignia isn't that a foxhound, but rather that of fox. Furthermore, the setting doesn't look like Shadow Moses, and even if it were, I don't remember Rex ever leaving the hangar in Metal Gear Solid, so I must wonder what Rex is doing outside in this artwork. Getting prepped for transport, or engaged in some kind of test before it's transported to Shadow Moses perhaps? It is worth noting that Campbell stressed that all released artwork will be fan art and is not meant to represent what is or isn't in the forthcoming film, so one could argue that this art isn't worth taking too seriously. At the same time though, I wonder if we should really take Campbell's word for it. If we are going to start theorizing, I would make it a point to note that Campbell wasn't exactly entirely honest with Snake throughout Metal Gear Solid 1, lying about the mission or keeping important details secret. So what if the meta gimmick here is that Campbell isn't being entirely truthful here either? What if despite stressing that we're looking at fan art, we're actually looking at early concept art for the upcoming movie? And before you call me crazy that I'm looking too deeply into this, it's not impossible to imagine Jordan attempting to play meta mind games leading up to the Metal Gear Solid movie's release, just like the Metal Gear games did by using our subverted expectations prior to launch as part of their narrative and thematic elements, with MGS2 and MGS5 being of particular note in that regard. While I cannot say for sure if Jordan has any intention of pursuing Kojima-esque meta marketing with the Metal Gear Solid movie or how far he would intend to push that, I would also say it's not out of the question given his fandom for the series. But perhaps most important of all, you may recall that the one tip Kojima gave Jordan during their E3 2017 Coliseum panel was betray your audience.
It's like, oh boy.
まあ僕と同じように皆さんの期待を裏切れと。
Do the same thing as me, betray your audience.
Who's to say that Jordan won't fully embrace Kojima's advice as part of the build-up to the Metal Gear Solid movie, and in turn, what if the mind games have already begun? What if despite Campbell's claims that the 31 pieces of artwork Jordan will be tweeting throughout the course of 31 days are just fan art, they actually turn out to be concept art for the movie? Do keep in mind that even then, concept art is just concept art, meaning that images may not be fully representative of what we'll see in the final product, but hey, any glimpses of what the Metal Gear Solid movie could look like, I'm all in for. Do keep in mind that this is all speculation on my part, but given how Campbell's codec call referenced the Metal Gear Solid movie, I get the sense that there may be more importance to the 31 artworks being released than we are being led to believe. And as long as there is that possibility, I'm going to keep a close eye on Jordan's Twitter page for the remaining 30 days. In that time, if there's anything worth reporting, I'll be sure to keep you guys updated. Jordan does also say that there will be news updates every day, as well as some surprises along the way. So if you're a Metal Gear fan, it really may be worth checking Jordan's feed at least once in a while. Though whether this all turns out to be surface level stuff, or if it culminates into some kind of cool reveal, remains to be seen. In the meantime though, I'd love to hear what your thoughts and theories are on Jordan's Metal Gear 31st anniversary celebration tweets in the comments below. With that, I would like to end this news update. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy my content and would like to support this channel directly, consider donating on Patreon. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Yong Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Yong out.